This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Wednesday, the 11th of August, 2021, and you are on the clock with Erin Greene. On the clock, we engage organizations, institutions, social and cultural leaders, and ordinary people to better understand the impact of public policy, private sector development, and emerging social and consumer trends. On the clock, we have conversations that help us understand and navigate a rapidly changing Bahamas. Today's show is brought to you by the Department of Inland Revenue. And today's show is something a little different. Hopefully, you find it as special as I do. Today, we are paying tribute to the Honorable A.D. Hanna. And a young Bahamian reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and asked if I could make space, asked if I could make space for a conversation for members of the PLP to come and join the country to pay tribute to A.D. Hanna. And I said to him, absolutely, I do not have a problem creating that space. I could be honest with you all, full disclosure, I's a Hanna Hasty Tynes, I's a part of the clan, so I don't mind making space for this. But I think it's an important, a great opportunity, a valuable opportunity for a type of intergenerational discourse, right? Where younger Bahamians can hear about the life of somebody that helped to forge the country that they live in. And older Bahamians can get a sense of what it is that younger Bahamians expect from them, what younger Bahamians want to turn the world into, right? And so I'm very, very happy to hold space for that conversation today. I had invited Dr. Chris Curry to also join the conversation. Dr. Curry is a historian at the University of the Bahamas, and I'm not certain if he can join us today. I think he may have had a professional issue pop up. But you know, when teachers got to go to work, teachers got to go to work. I would hate to be the one to encourage a teacher, of all people, to play hooky, even for a great conversation like this. And so we're going to get into that part of the show in a moment. I'm going to give you the call numbers and the text number right now. You can call us at 323-6232. That's 323-6232, 325-4316, or 325-4259. Or you can text us at 422-GR96. That's 422-4796, and that's powered by BTC. Standard text rates apply. And I'm asking my audience to call in or text in with noteworthy or memorable, personal or historic moments with or about the Honorable A.D. Hanna, to share with the audience things that you think we, the Bahamian public, should know to understand the man, but also that we need to know to understand the country that we live in and we have been called, each and every one of us, to serve. Before we get into the show, I want to bring you a message from the Public Procurement Act. Did you know that the Public Procurement Act 2021 will take effect on September 1st? The Public Procurement Act replaces the Financial, Administrative, and Audit Act and will increase greater transparency and accountability in public procurement. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Finance. Now, when I was thinking about this show, because I could be honest with you, like I've said a couple times, I know of the man. He is my cousin. I am closer to his grandchildren and children than I ever was to him. And so my knowledge of the man is limited. So while I was sitting down sort of preparing for the show, something kept popping into my head. And it's actually a statement that the former Prime Minister, Perry Christie, made last week or a couple of weeks ago. And I think Perry Christie said that, we need to be careful not to demonize leaders and politicians. Now, unfortunately for Perry Christie, this is the same day or shortly thereafter, a day or so thereafter, the leader of the royal opposition, Brave Davis, said something that suggested that Cat Island is in the state that it's in because of disregard and dereliction from the FNM government. And after I stopped laughing uncontrollably, I look at the picture of Perry in the paper, and I pointed it towards the picture of Brave in the paper, and I asked Perry, is this what you talking about here, sir? Because sometimes, I guess it's hard to distinguish, to make a distinction between demanding that politicians show up, demanding that politicians do what it is that they have been paid to do, and may I note, have been continuously paid without a pay cut, despite the economic and financial circumstances the country is in. And I thought, what could the Honorable Perry Gladstone Christie be talking about? Who is demonizing political leaders? And I thought, you know what? I can give Mr. Christie a break because he's in his senior years. And maybe he is remembering a time of old, a time of yore. In fact, I think it may even be a time of law, right? Which is yore is old and law is made up. And I thought about A.D. Hanna and the stories that I'd heard about A.D. Hanna over the last few weeks, right? Because when you look at a man like A.D. Hanna and the representation that is almost lauded over us, like a lot of older Bahamians talk about that time as if, oh, aren't you jealous that you couldn't have experienced this, right? But this is one particular instance where I think I'm a little jealous. They talk about that time, and they talk about A.D. Hanna, the MP. Stories about A.D. Hanna in Annstown. And the thing it makes me think about most is a duty of care. One thing, of all the things that I've learned about A.D. Hanna, founding father, forger of the nation, is that he exercised a duty of care. He understood and he exercised it, this duty of care that he had for those around him, for those that he was representing, whether at a constituency level or at a national level. And I'm going to share just two quick stories before we get into the discussion, that I was able to glean from my mother as she spent her time as a PS at Government House. And the first thing she said was this, is that whenever A.D. Hanna was standing in the greeting line where he would greet guests coming into Government House, he knew everybody, and he knew where they were from, and he knew their people. He could look at their face and tell who they were, hear their voice, and know who they connected to. Now, I think we have sort of confused that for like a patronage, right? And I think we may get into that in the discussion, our expectations of what an MP is or should be. The second story, and it's not even a story, right? It's like a little, not even an anecdote, it's just like a little quip that my mother shared with me, is that A.D. Hanna was a man that tended to and took care of his wife, particularly in her most vulnerable state as she became older and older and may have lost, I'm going to say we get old-timers disease. As she got older and older, that this man took care of his wife with a grace that would bring tears to your eyes, that he would comb her hair, that he would tend to her clothing, make sure that she was put together and she felt good, that he would take her with him, make sure that she was comfortable and entertained, and refuse to let her become a shut-in. And this is the measure of the man. When we talk about what it means to be man and masculinity, it is the seriousness with which you take your duty of care for those around you, especially those that you know need you. And to that I say, I am proud to call myself a Bahamian because he was also a Bahamian. And I'm going to leave it right there. Let me read these first two texts, and then I'm going to bring my guests into the conversation. The first text says, Erin, his name is not Perry. It is the Right Honorable Perry Gladstone Christie. Talk about respect. I never hear you say minutes, right? Perry isn't in control of Honorable Brave. Dear texter, thank you for that. There is a time and a place for the office. This is not the time. I could be honest with you. You see that short little commentary I gave at the beginning about demonizing versus demanding substantive and critical engagement from the people you pay to govern you? Yeah. Sometimes y'all get caught up in this political class like that's the only thing, in culture like that's the only thing y'all know. Another text says, great show as usual. Question, how come no one brought up that the world is on code red for climate change? I don't know about y'all, but I rather know the world might end than talking about the PM speech. Politics in this country will be the end of us. Also, I think it's a great idea to put A.D. Hanna on the $100 and note, and while we add it, put Papa on the $50 note while he is alive. That is a lot to get into, texter. First of all, I don't know if A.D. Hanna wanted to be on the $100 bill, particularly since he turned down the knighthood from the Queen. Hopefully we could interrogate that a bit in this discussion. This whole thing about on code red for climate change, I don't know about y'all, but I rather know the world might end than talking about the PM's speech and politics in the country. Well, this is the thing. All of these things are intertwined, sir, texter. I don't know if you're a man or a woman. All these things are intertwined. We see this conversation on climate change. It's a deep, deep conversation. It's wide. You could take a whole month of conversation. I got to bring in my environmentalists, my scientists, my conservationists, my naturalists, my indigenous environmental advocates, right? We got so much to broach into this. And then there's a parallel here with the pandemic discussion as well, these global north countries, they don't care about us. They don't care about us. In the same way that the world community has not determined that to do this thing the way they want to do it, everybody has to have access to vaccines, but they don't seem to think that poor people really need it. They don't really need it. It's the same way that the climate change discussion, right, impacts everybody, but the larger countries aren't really interested in what we, the smaller countries who will receive the greatest impact, have to say. So to be honest with you, if we can't get this ground level local conversation about governance and politics and the collective political and cultural vision, if we can't get that conversation sorted out, then there's no way we're going to be able to tackle what is this whole climate change discussion, because we are jeopardizing Bahamian citizens' lives to keep the tourism model, right, the tourism economy alive. Do you think they're going to stop sailing cruise ships through here to keep the planet alive or to protect our little Bahamas? You think that's what they plan on doing? Do you think they care about us that much to do that? And so it is these ground level conversations where we could help Bahamians navigate what's in front of them right now. So we can help them critically see, strategize, organize around issues that are important to them. And then we can move on to this collective national discussion about how we engage the globe about climate change. Now the text, how is it that the insurance industry don't respect the black man business? It's been, okay, this is about insurance issue. I don't know if it's a race thing, to be honest with you, text. I think it may be more about a money, influence and affluence thing. Good morning, Miss Greene. Did they ever fly the flag at half-mast for Mr. Hanna, one of my heroes? I don't know. I think that this putting Mr. Hanna on the $100 bill was a sort of a rush thing, because I don't think the man who would say no to the Queen's honor would say, hey, if you're going to do something for me, why you don't put my face on the $100 bill? I don't think that's who he was. Anyway, quickly, I got a caller quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the highest honor and the highest respect. I totally agree with you. I don't think Mr. Hanna wanted all of that accolade. He was a simple man, and like you say, how he combed his wife here, cared about her, and took her out with him, even though she was in her declining years.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. I appreciate the sentiment. Let me take this moment to bring my guest, Mr. Athma Bow, into the discussion. Good morning, Mr. Bow.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am very well, thank you.
And let me say good morning to the PLP.
Well, I'm sure they're somewhere out there.
They gotta be everywhere, man. They like sea grape and ants. They everywhere. Good morning.
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure to discuss this great man with you. I think I've been fortunate to develop in the time when he came along, and he was a young man's model. If you wanted to be a community leader or political leader, you wanted to develop into a nationalist, he was all of that. And so I say to his family, sympathies most certainly from my family, from my generation, because I'm a Cat Island boy, and the Cat Island was the first island that A.D. Hanna sought to represent. So Cat Island really is up there now for any number of reasons, and I'm sure it shall remain as a historic place in the Bahamas.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so one of the first questions I wanted to ask, we want to ask about A.D., the politician. And initially, I want to ask about A.D. Hannah and Pinling's relationship in sort of that leadership space. But before that, I remember the story, I think it's when Milo was forcibly removed from the House of Assembly. Tell us the story.
Yes.
A.D. Hannah was, I think he demanded that the same number of men that were used to remove Milo be used to remove him as well. Is that a true story? And is that the sort of the politician that A.D. was?
Yes. Eddie's attitude was, I don't want y'all to think that I ain't a big man too. So don't think because I'm small you can take but 1.5 police to move me. The same amount you use to take Milo, I want to use that amount. And I have a photograph of the officers taking out 80, and I believe it looked like about 4 of them. And he seemed to be quite distinguished and honored to be thrown out of the house. You know, his attitude was always that I've come to this house to represent the people. So if you throwing me out, you're actually throwing out the people. And I don't think many persons wanted to be seen as throwing out the people. That's why the tossing out of the mace and the hourglass became so significant later on.
Now, I think many people my age or younger would associate like the power base of the PLP, say, with A.D. At the frontline politics with A.D. and Pinling, right? But then we realized that A.D. Hannah was a vital part of the political movement from before sort of Pinling hit the scene. Is it reasonable to say that A.D. Hannah was the sort of intellectual or the strategic driving force behind the PLP, you know, transitioning through generations of politics, like from majority rule to independence? Mr. Bo?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Oh, well, A.D. was, if you looked at Pinling and you looked at Hannah, they were the 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Pinling was the one who had the imagery of the orator, the charming personality, the person who easily brought persons closer to the issue. And A.D. was the one who was paying attention to everything that was going on. He didn't miss a beat. And when it was thought to be close enough, then you would feel A.D. And you could look at it like this. Pinling was the carrot, and A.D. was the stick. Everybody wanted to run to Pinling, you know, get hugged up and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But there were no lines to A.D. door to like swing him or sway him or swine, because A.D. had that persona. He exuded that. Yes, my brother, how you doing? So nice to see you. What would you like me to do for you? But in that tone, it suggests that I trust you ain't come up here to just talk nonsense, right? Not nonsense like nonsense, but, you know, because we're here to do the people's business. And hand in hand with that, it is said that persons who sought work permits, expatriates, who seemed to have had the habit of inviting the politician to expensive dinners and so forth and so on, A.D. wouldn't go for that. He wouldn't accept those type of invitations. And if by chance he would meet them at a function, they did not have the nerve to bring up to him the fact that they had a work permit issue or citizenship issue, and they wanted him to look at it. That's almost like you don't want that, because he did not associate that patronizing type of
those practices.
Strategy.
But Mr. Bo, we got a caller on the line. Let's go to this caller quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Good morning, Erin.
Good morning. How are you?
And good morning to, I think that's Mr. Bo.
Yes.
And good morning to you, sir. Mr. Bo, I want to ask you a question. Was it, Eddie Hanna who said that, if I think, I hope I'm quoting right, that when you cannot sustain or feed your people, you should hang your head down in shame or something like that, if that's the same words, if I choose my words the right way, was it him who said that, sir?
Can you repeat that, please?
Okay, it's something during the times you're talking about. I think it was Mr. Hanna, if I subject to be corrected, said that when you cannot sustain or feed your people, you should hang your head down in shame, something like that.
Sir, I'm not familiar with that specific occasion or statement. And I don't want to, go into an area which is not a Claire's day, so to speak.
Most definitely.
He always believed, though, that Bahamians should be masters of their destiny and of their country. He did not believe in Bahamians being placed, and I want you to hear me, he did not believe in Bahamians being placed into subservient positions.
Yes, sir.
Where they are always available to carry out instructions rather than being part of the management system of the Bahamas.
Yes, sir.
And out of that attitude and idea and passion came Bahamianization.
Yes, sir. But I want to say this, I want to interject for a second, right? Why is it that we have to wait until, but not only the leaders of our country, we have to wait until they pass away to have all of these accolades or, why can't you give the people the roses while they're living?
Thank you, DeWitt. I got to answer that one. I got to answer that one, Mr. Booth. I want to sort of limit the political engagement, but I think that's a good question. I think the political culture does what's expedient and necessary for them to push their agenda forward. And the types of discussions we're having are historic and restorative and revealing and exposing in some senses. And that doesn't suit the political culture's agenda, but we're going to get into that right now. Athma, I see I got one more call on the line. Caller, you're on the clock. We're coming to you right now. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Erin and Mr. Bo. Erin, now I want out of my boat to tell us two things. Eddie Hanna run the House of Assembly. He came to date till 84. He was leader of government business. You used to see when he did the budget every year. Gold cuffling, 4-piece suit. And he was well spoken. And rowdy though. But his English was par none. And on his way home, you say the minister not change their number. Eddie had a car, no driver. Up Hawkins Hill, 520. Any watering hole, Town Road, which is DPM car park in front. He didn't duck from his people. It's not park from Hawkins Hill, 520. And he's socializing and playing the dominoes most every night with his people. He was the black majority lion. Nobody played with him. No experts dare not play with him. If he send the Lafayette people a tax bill, they dare not.
Write a letter back saying, sorry, we didn't understand what you write here, sir. Thank you very much, caller.
He would ask them, when you want to leave?
Yeah.
What day you want me to extort you on this island? This is for Bahamas, Bahamians. Follow the rules, follow the law. And Volker would back him.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Athama, good morning. You still there?
Yes.
Right. And so, earlier I mentioned this idea of duty of care. And the caller said that's another thing that I've heard repeatedly about A.D. Hanna is that the representation in Anstown, right? In fact, somebody told me a story said that one election, 80 won the seat on nomination day because Nobody else could get the signatures to even nominate. And that was due to the level of representation that he brought to Anstown and to his constituents. Can you speak to that? And then briefly, like, how do we inspire? Is it possible for MPs and more than just MPs, constituency teams, right? Like in this current iteration, do we need to shift our expectations and not necessarily expect to see the MP, but to see the team on the ground in the communities?
Well, thank you. First of all, if you permit me to go, I guess forward to go backward. It started with A.D. Hanna's persona. It's what he brought to the table. Mm-hmm. He brought A.D. Hanna from Pompey Bay, Acklands, to the table. Mm-hmm. He didn't give you any pretentiousness that he brought his spit level house. He got plenty of money. He's a this and a that. This me now, so to speak. And as I represent you and seek your opinions of what you would like to see happen for you, that is how I will behave. So he went into the area that he represented anytime, any hour of the night. And I believe there's a photo of him using Bahamian vernacular, peeping through somebody's window. You know, those windows that got the stick, to hold the window up with a stick. And he put in the air to the window, speaking to the lady, and he was comfortable in that position. Mm-hmm. And they loved him. I think that what has happened is too few of us understand the relationship of our culture to what we expected to be representing our people. Mm-hmm. We ask them to engage us, hire us as their MPs, and then after, it would appear that after you achieve that position, the constituents become either terrified, overly worshiping, expected to kowtow, expected to be humbled by these MPs who just a few months ago sought their votes. And so citizens have to change their attitude, and they have to say to this quote unquote person seeking their support, you will swear allegiance to us, the constituents. You will represent what our feelings are. And the day you start acting like, even though we're here in a family island or we're over the hill, you act as if you come from way down west somewhere else, then we'll let you know what time of day it is. Absolutely. And so A.D. Hanna respected that. And respect has a lot to do with it. Today, I think that, like the old people would say, they use this phrase, you all think we are ignorant. You all think we are nobody. And so you talk to us like nobody, you treat us like nobody, and therefore you expect us to just take it and go. The US President Biden said recently to his cabinet secretaries, if I were to catch one of you anytime speaking to a citizen in a fashion that the citizen feels is disrespectful, I will fire you on the spot. And therefore, he's taken the bar of a relationship between the representative and the constituents to another level.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes, sir.
We got to go to a break. And when we get back from the break, I've got some more texts. And then I want you to think about this question. Does A.D. Hanna represent the empathy that is now or seems to be now missing in Bahamian politics? When we get back from the break, we're going to delve into that question and a couple more of these texts. Stay tuned to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk, all day. We'll be right back.
It is never easy to witness nature's wrath. One single named path of destruction over the course of a few hours, sometimes minutes, sometimes seconds, can change your life forever. When a hurricane strikes, be prepared. Let the insurance professionals at J.S. Johnson protect you, your property, and the ones you love. Be prepared. Visit the insurance experts at jsjohnson.com. J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers, giving you peace of mind.
Like what you're hearing on the show? Want to support the conversation? Sponsor On the Clock today. Call Janet Lees at 302-2304. That's 302-2304. Be the solution. Sponsor On the Clock with Erin Greene, where she dissects, we discuss, and you decide.
I've been representing all my life. I'm getting ready to make it count this time. Census 2021 for your family line. You better get ready. It's about that time. So tell mama to be ready. Tell it to the whole family. The rock the top forward too. The count depends on you. So tell Ted to go tell below. Mark it down on your calendar. Census 2021. This one's for everyone.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My guest today is Mr. Atham Abo from the PLP, and we are paying tribute to the Honorable A.D. Hanna. And let me sort of slide back in after this break to say to my PLP people, please don't take that earlier part of the discussion, the critique of Perry, that the statement by Perry. Don't take that too hard and not call in and shine for your boy A.D. Hanna. It's particular, I think it's particularly important for me to hear stories coming from the institution that he helped to build and the people in it. Because we often, especially young people, we get upset at older Bahamians who sort of have these deep connections or commitments, relationships with political parties and PLP and FNM, and say, how you could be PLP or FNM, and we younger people sort of fail to realize, because we haven't necessarily had that experience yet, that most people are connected to a moment or an experience with a member of the party, right? Like a collective experience, like an MP or a cabinet minister's response to a labor issue and how that improved or impacted the lives of all the laborers involved in agitating for change, right? And it has less to do with the party itself, but what that person, that moment of time represents, right? To them personally, within the context of their lives. And since politics rules everything, right? I just think it's important for us to have these conversations where we could make these distinctions, because I am connected to the PLP in like my family. If you ever hear me and Atham Abo talk, we talk about the Secretary General, Daddy O, Stephen Mitchell, who's my uncle. But my connection to the PLP is also different. I was at COB one year when Nelson Mandela came to the Bahamas. And I was trying to figure out how I could see Nelson Mandela. And I realized that at one point I had to walk from COB to Government House because that's where Nelson Mandela was going to be next. And I basically walked the whole thing. And I was walking up Blue Hill Road to get to the entrance of Government House. Fred Mitchell came walking up behind me or on the side of me and asked me what I was doing. And when I told him what I was doing, Fred Mitchell helped me get into Government House, and I meet Nelson Mandela. Now, not meet and sit down and have tea and crumpets, but he walked past me and he touched my hand. And it was an important moment for me, and that Fred Mitchell would take a little space and energy to see if he could help me out, to go do this important thing that had nothing to do with the PLP, right? That's how people make connections with parties and movements. And we need to be able to see that and distinguish that. Oh, wow. Athama, how you do? Athama, you still there?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you.
Good,
I'm
good.
doing great.
Good. I got some callers coming in. Let's let these callers talk to us, eh? Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Good morning, Miss Greene.
Good morning.
Sparky here. Good morning, Athama.
Morning, Sparky.
How you doing?
Fantastic.
Athama, I hear them talk, and Athama is right on point when it comes to 80. 80 was the humble man. I dealt with both of them. Finland used to hang with a special group when he go to Andros, and when he go to Cargill Creek, Andros, he'd stop at the lodge where I was managing. Then they'll go down from there to South Andros for the rest of the weekend. And there was a certain group that would always hang around. 80 was more of the common man. 80 would come up to Bill Strawn on Hawkins Hill. Everybody talk about Hawkins Hill and Camp Road and all that. Bill Strawn, 80 will come up there driving his own little white right-hand truck by himself, no chauffeur, no nothing, no bodyguard. Every evening after work, all of us will swarm up by Bill Strawn, F&Ms and PLPs, to play domino, to play cards, to sit out on the front porch, and just communicate and talk and have our little discussions and rows. 80 will play his little domino, play his little cards with all of us. And 80 was the humble fellow. Finland was like the opposite. And Athama could tell you that this is the truth. When they made 80 Hanna Governor General, 80 told all the boys up by Bill Strawn, he said, the first thing I could do for y'all guys is when they swear us in, before they even swear me in, I can invite y'all up there on the back patio, and all of us can play dominoes at Government House together, and ain't nobody even know we up there. And that came true to form. Athama could tell you that happened. And all the guys who used to hang out up the Bill Strawn back in the day could tell you that happened just the way Sparky said it, because I was there myself.
Thank you, Sparky. Look here, I got another caller. I got to go. Boy, look here, I like when Sparky call, there's always something. You see that nugget Sparky share with us, and now I super jealous that y'all old heads don't want to give us an opportunity to do the same thing. Okay, I got one more. I got another caller there, Athama. Caller, you're on the clock.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To Mr. Bo. Amos, I don't know. I am happy that the Athens gentleman did great things.
Mm-hmm.
However, the progressive, I'm upset. I'm highly upset. I need the world to know that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to stay humble in this world. Bahamian people trying to stay humble. We could talk about how the Prime Minister had a half flag flown for the Haitian Prime Minister, but our Bahamian Haitian Prime Minister can't find the decency in his Bahamian Haitian heart to do it for the Bahamian, real Bahamian former governor. If our Governor General Smith dropped down dead right now, you think the flag wouldn't be dropped to half mast?
Absolutely.
I am upset, Mr. Bo, with the Progressive Liberal Party leadership, but I can't really make much noise now because I'm working on something until August 31st. After that, I promise the Bahamas people I'll either be dead.
No. I know what you're saying.
I want to tell everybody in the Bahamas goodbye right now because I ain't sure how I'm going to act because of the PLP leadership and the F&M cabinet leadership.
Okay, Amos, you run so hot just now. First of all, No. And even if you do die, your spirit will always be with us. Let's pass that talk. But I appreciate what you're saying. And you tell me, let me be mad at the PLP for you. Whoever's calling the text line, you can't call this line. You got to text in. I got to hang up on you. Athama, I got a plethora of texts here. But let me just say this. I am upset at the PLP too for not doing more. Now, I know we're in the midst of a crisis. And I want this to be an extended conversation, because I do have the question: how do we honor a man such as A.D. Hanna? And it'd have to be more than land, and it'd have to be more than boat. Like, how do we, create a sustainable tribute so that his legacy truly lives? If I get to my callers, hold on the line. I have about 12 texts here I got to get through. Athema, if you want to respond to any of the texts, just pop in. First text says, "Good morning, Miss Greene. It seems DeWitt knows a bit of history about what he said. Miss Greene, I don't do the politics, but I will say Mr. Hanna was a man with love in his heart for people and his country. Keep up the good work, Miss Greene. Thank you." Another text says, "You were correct. I don't think he would want to be on the $100 note. So I upgrade Papa to the $100 note and Perry to the $10 note." But this text had also said he thinks it's a great idea to put Hanna on the $100 note. I have another texter who said he doesn't think that A.D. Hanna would want to be on the $100 note, but a point of clarification: this process has started from 2016. So I think A.D. Hanna may have had an opportunity to object if he didn't want it to happen. This text says, "What I love about A.D. Hanna is he's really a man of the people. You can tell simply by the fact of where he lived, not behind the gates, but at his old homestead. His grace balanced with fight for the people is passed on to his daughter, who quite frankly should be high up in the PLP, even as leader running to be the first female PM. I done tell Glennis pack up the PLP Georgie bundle and take it somewhere else." But that's a whole nother text. Erin, good show today. Your comments on demonization was spot on. Keep truth and hope alive. Thank you. Another text. A.D. Hanna belonged to the country, not just a party. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. But the PLP is the first institution or group to reach out to me and ask me if I was willing to make a space available for it. And if the FNM party or our government reach out to me, I will make the space available also. Another text, "Hi, A.D. Hanna would have understood medical apartheid. He knew what the South African government legislatures created in law in 1948. Athema, I guess that's another question I have for you for the follow-up. Was A.D. Hanna an integral part of the Choga movement to demand the end to apartheid in South Africa? You there, Bo? Maybe you're on mute. Anyway, that's a question for... oh, there we go. Don't worry about it. Mr. Bo, I am right out of time, and considering the issues you having with the Zoom, we're going to have to do a follow-up conversation. We got to bring some more people in to share these stories. Last couple of texts, good morning. Wow, you met Nelson Mandela. I mean, like, I can be honest, I was right in his face. I say good morning and nod my head like all polite Christian Bahamian girls supposed to do. I think I reached out my hand, and he's moving through people. He barely touched it, but it was a moment, and I'll never forget it. Another text, Erin, Jeffrey Lloyd should know A.D. Hanna's story real good. He's from Kemp Road. Erin, A.D. Hanna is the reason Dr. Sands' daddy died a PLP stalwart, because before the PLP, he could not get a CPA job on Bay Street. That means Dr. Sands would not have been this big-time doctor. You trying to tell me that Dr. Sands got to tell A.D. Hanna thank you for setting his legacy off? Boy, look at how you all PLPs like to stoke the FNMs, eh? Good morning, Erin. Great show, great guest. Mr. Athema Bo is a historian. Indeed. Mr. Bo, connected again? I'm so sorry.
Yes, we are.
Okay, I've been right out of time. I'm so sorry we had the issue with connectivity at the end there. I'm going to organize a follow-up. I want to ask you to bring a couple of older members from the party and from the movement, from the community that you and Sparky spoke about, across partisan political lines, to share some of the integral stories and moments that built this political culture and built this country, so we could get a better sense of where we're going and how to get there. Thank you so much, Mr. Bo, and thank you to my audience for joining me today. It's been a full conversation. Like I say, in the upcoming days, we're going to continue it. Thank you again, Mr. Bo. Thank you to my producer for always finding the most appropriate song at the most appropriate time. We've hit that 11 o'clock hour. That means it's time for Levon Miller and Unleash. So stay tuned to 96.9 FM, Guardian Radio.
Livingston, I had an idea, la 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 la.